Hi everyone. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I was having some internet issues. So I hope you guys are all doing good. I hope everyone is doing well. I have had a crazy day already, which is so apropos for me in my life. You know how things like that go. It's like I should just know better. I should know that when I plan things that stuff happens. And that is what's going on. So anyway, I hope you guys are all doing good, and I hope that you are. Hi everybody. Hi Brenda. Hi Susan. Hi Luana. Hi Nikki. Hi Alta. Hi Elaine. Hi Fiona. Hi Lynn. I have just, oh my gosh, you guys wait. It's called life. So this is how it rolls with me, okay? If I just do it as like, just jump in and do it without any warning, everything goes fine. But when I plan, it just seems like my life falls apart. So anyway, hi Laurel. Laurel, I loved your needle book. Everybody head over to Laurel's channel, Forever Purple Creations, and look at her needle book. It is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Nikki. You guys go over and check out Laurel's channel, okay? And it's amazing. All right, girls, give me a minute. Chat with each other. Let me just grab my cup of tea. I'm telling you, I had house guests up until like they literally were pulling out of the driveway as I put myself live. I just want to grab my tea. Give me 1 second. Anyway. Tell me what's going on in your world. Tell me what's going on in your world. I'll tell you what's going on in mine. Mine is just so crazy. Go and look at her needle book. It's amazing, Laurel. I loved it, and I love, first of all, I loved all the selection of laces and stuff that you used, and I like the whole thing. I love the composition, everything. Go watch your videos. It's in 2 parts. It's gorgeous, Fiona. I agree. Hi, Sue. Welcome. Hey, Bet. Yeah. Jelly Shelly is here. Oh, my God, you guys. I didn't even... Anyway. So, I got it today. I was all excited. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so great. And my middle daughter, who's 19, she wanted a new bed. So, we have a guest room that had a bed in it. So, well, why don't you take the bed? She stays here she stays here at my house part-time, and then she lives with a friend part-time because she works really late hours in the summer at a restaurant, and it's on the other side of the island, and she doesn't have to drive. Anyway, so she was sleeping on a fold-out sofa, and she said, it was giving her backaches and what have you not, so she asked me could she have the bed from the guest room, and I said, sure. That used to be my craft room. I said, sure. And she said, I'll trade you this fold-out sofa for my bed. And I'm like, okay, fine. How's Poopsie? Poopsie is good, Brenda. Poopsie's been working all day. So Poopsie, my partner, he got up to put the bed on the anyway, it's to take the bed to her. So we had to take it all apart, and the headboard and footboard and all the stuff, and put all the screws in bags, and I mean that's what we got up to this morning, right? And she was coming back and supposedly going to spend the day, because today was her day off. She was going to supposedly come back with him and spend the day, and she had asked me to cook her something. She said, will you cook? And you know, it's been so hot here, I have to be honest, I haven't really cooked much lately. So I started cooking for her, and I help him load this bed up, and we get this whole thing going, and I start cooking for her, and my stove caught on fire, you guys. I have an electric stove. I've never had this happen. There was nothing. I was making chicken stock. I was boiling chicken, and the front burner. I usually love cooking with gas, but we don't have gas here, and they don't have natural gas is not easy to get here. My oven blew up. My whole thing. Yes. Oh my God, you guys. All I could do was, and the worst part was this. Are you ready? In the oven, I had all my tea-dyed papers. Because I was doing my tea-dyed paper. You guys, so that's what I've been doing. All right, needless to say, I went over to my neighbor's house, and I finished cooking my tea-dyed papers, and I made her some food. And then she tells me, so I'm making all this food for her and stuff because she asked me to. You know, your kids ask you, you do. You're like, oh, okay, no problem. You guys, she comes and she's like, now I'm thinking that she's going to stay. Like, I'm thinking that she's going to stay overnight, and that she and I are going to have this whole, like, today's her day off, and right, she's going to stay overnight. And so I make all this food for her, and, you know, I go to my neighbor's house to make the food. Have you ever cooked at somebody else's house? It's so weird, right? Go to my neighbor's house to cook the food, and then my daughter tells me, oh, Mom, I have to go back. I took a extra shift on tonight, so, you guys have no idea. So, I mean, I guess I could have skipped the cooking part, you know, but she had asked me to cook something special for her, so I did. At my neighbor's house. Meanwhile, I'm cooking papers, and have you guys ever? Oh my God. Anyway, it's just ridiculous, you guys. So that's been my day, and then because I went and cooked at my neighbor's house, then my neighbor came back over. She came over and, you know, hung out with my daughter when she was here for a little bit because she wanted to, like, see her too, because she works so much we hardly see her. And then they all just left. They all finally just got in the car to leave. So that's been my day. And needless to say, all the things that I had planned to do in my Zen time didn't happen. My stove totally blew up. It was ridiculous. Susan, I'll show you how I make tea-dye paper. Here, I'll show you really quick. I bake mine, okay? I just put my oven on 350, and I put it on a pizza pan, you know, that has perforated holes in it, and I'll show you exactly what I do. Hang on 1 second, and I'll get it. I'll show you what I do. It is so nothing. But, you know, everybody has their own style. But hang on, I'll show you. So, I'm just using copy paper, and this is some music paper, but you can use anything you want. And this is my very exciting. So, I put tea in a bottle, in a spray bottle, okay? That's what I do. I put tea in a spray bottle, and then this is it. Are you ready? This is as good as it gets, Susan. Here you go. I spritz my paper. I don't know if you can even see it. And I just put like 2 or 3 tea bags and steep it in a small cup of water so it gets really dark. I just pour that straight into here. And then I spray it like that. And then I stick it in the oven on 350 for about, I don't know, a couple minutes. And I turn it over and spray the other side. That's what I do. Okay? So, mine always ends up, I like the color of mine. If you want it darker, you may have to use like, I don't know, stronger tea. I just use black tea. That's my exciting way, Susan. Did you say? That was it. And then I stick it in the oven. See, like you can see the bottom one. This was laying on the bottom of the pizza pan, and you can see because it has polka dots on it. So if you laid like a doily, if you sprayed your tea with a doily like this and put it in there, you'd get the doily thing. There's tons of videos on YouTube about how to tea dye and coffee dye stuff. I do my coffee the same way. Okay, and if you have a die cutting machine and you use the blanks, you know, the part from your die cutting machine, you could spray your tea and then put it on there. Now, it's all different shades, as you can see. It's not, and I didn't iron it. Sometimes I go back and iron my paper. Do any of you guys iron your paper? Oh my God, you guys. Can I tell you, all I could do was just like, I mean, I didn't cry, but I mean, I could just like go, what is wrong with me, you guys? This is so ridiculous. So needless to say, I didn't get all the stuff made that I wanted to get made before our live stream. But I did make some paper, and I did get a little bit of it done. I did not get my corner rounder out, so I don't know if I'm going to round the corners, but I thought what we could do. And I'm still like vacillating on this thing here. Oh, I did find some, you guys, I did find, not all of my stash, but I did find some. Somebody sent me this in some Happy Mail a long time ago. So I have some tea dyeing in the kitchen. I think this is what I'm going to use instead of making handmade flowers for this. What are you guys writing? I'm missing it all. You're tired, Fiona? I'm sorry. So, you know, if you want, Susan, you know, you can do your yes, and if you lay it directly on the rack of the oven, you can get stripes. And I also have a grill pan, you know, you can stick it on, or a baking rack, that if you stick that on top of a pan in your oven, you can get that too. So, I was going to make handmade flowers, which I could still do, but I may not do that until Friday. But I think I'm going to use this for this, and I'm dyeing a piece of eyelet I found, and another piece of lace. The thing for me is that if you're using a synthetic fabric, it's not going to take dyeing as easy as a natural fiber. And then I think I'm going to distress this a little. But anyway, let's work on the envelope one first, and then so that's my morning, you guys. And I mean, this has been my whole damn day. Okay, so I'm afraid to turn my oven back on or anything back on, because not because of the, okay, wait, let me read it. Did I end up coming on last night? I did. You know, Lorelle, what happened was yesterday I was chatting with Diana, and she was like, I think I was chatting with Diana, and I was also chatting with Bet and Susan, and they were like, I was just saying, what are you guys up to or whatever, and they were like, why aren't you, you know, I said, I'm just making tags. So I made a bunch of tags, and I just came on, and anyway, it was impromptu. It wasn't anything planned, and you didn't miss anything. I mean, we laughed a lot. They made a lot of fun of me, but that's okay. So I'm afraid to turn my oven back on, because this is the thing. As houses here, everything corrodes really easily because we're in the middle of the ocean, right? So everything corrodes easily. So I'm afraid that I don't know how old this stove is, but I'm afraid to like to plug it back in, or to turn it back on until I have somebody come in and deal with the electric. Because I mean, trust me, I cook all the time. So it's not like this was like some anomaly. I just haven't cooked in the past few weeks. It's been really, really hot here, and with my youngest daughter gone, you know, it's like, and everybody working so much, I don't cook so much when they're not here. So anyway, let's make our envelope journal. I did find some cool things. I did find these in my stash. So somebody was asking about, a couple of streams ago, was asking about bags for your junk journal. And so these I found in my stash. These, I must have got them at a thrift store, because I don't know where I would have bought them, but they're wedding cake bags. I'll show you what I did. I took a doily and I sprayed Glimmer Mist through it, right? But the problem with this, I didn't stick it in the oven. You can, if your bag is just parchment paper, you can stick it in the oven. But this one has wax inside of it, and I didn't, look, after I didn't want to catch my neighbor's house on fire, you know? So, Susan, I live in Hawaii. I live on the island of Maui. So, that's where I live, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So, I just used Glimmer Mist for this. I mean, you could use any sort of spray ink you have, or you could even, you know, use a makeup sponge and use your stamp pad through it. And I just used a regular doily. I have it, see? I just laid the doily down and used that. So, you know, look around for these cake bags. They're great for, I like it. They're thicker than a regular, glassine bag. Okay, sorry, I'm having a brain moment. I'm telling you guys, I was like, asked Diana, I said my oven, and it was it wasn't like some smoke or something. It was like a actual like loud popping noise. Anyway, so that is what I did with this, and I would like some regular envelopes, but honestly, after being tea dyeing and cooking at my friend's house, I didn't even go and venture to tea dye any envelopes for this. Witty Ray's writing, I'm missing it. I'm not going to catch my neighbor's house on fire. I just can't. You know, it's like, you guys, after that, I was like, what am I doing? Why is this? This is ridiculous. Anyway. So for those of you that first just joined us, we're making Shabby Chic Journals in honor of our friend Michelle and also in honor of our friend Fiona. And yeah, so we had so much fun last night. Bet asking Victor if he's yes, Pity Pat Pat is in the house. Pity Pat Pat is right here. So we're making Shabby Chic Journals. So what I did a few live streams ago is, this was just a manila envelope, and you can see it's still yellow on the inside if you look, right? And I covered it with a napkin. It was kind of bright, so I whitewashed over it a little bit, and then I put a piece of sheet music on the back and also whitewashed over it. And this is going to be the journal, right? And the flap is just going to go across it like this. And I need to figure out what kind of paper I'm going to put on the inside. So what I did was I took some copy paper, and it's all tea dyed, and they're all just various shades of light brown, and they're going to be the pages inside. I also have some music paper, but I thought what we could do today is, I don't know how many pages I'm going to put in, but I thought maybe I would show you guys my process of laying out a few pages with corner pockets and folding some stuff, and then maybe I left my trim from the cover of my other journal in some tea soaking because it's synthetic, and then maybe we can work on that. So I'm not going to sew. I work on my pages open. You know, you know what? You can call me Pity Pat Pat. It does not bother me at all. You know, today was the only day that he didn't ask if I was going to Pity Pat Pat, because he knew I was going to, but when the stove blew up, he was like, I think the look on his face was just like, is this for real? This cannot possibly be happening at this moment. So, anyway. So, some people make their junk journals. Let's focus on junk journaling. I'm going to try to keep my head out of the blowing up stove. Some people focus on their journals. They go ahead and they make their signatures, and then they work on their pages, like adding embellishments or pockets. I kind of, you know, there's no rule to it, but I like, if I'm going to do something like this, generally if I'm going to do a junk journal, it's got junk mail in it and all that. I'm not going to put junk mail in this journal. I probably will put some music paper in this journal. I'll have to go through my scrapbooking stash of paper. Maybe I'll put some of that. I might put some, what did you say, Liz? Fiona, I do sometimes. I do sometimes embellish my pages before I sew them in. Now, I don't put the lace on it. I'll do that after I decide. But I do decide, like, if I'm gonna, I don't sew them in my journal before I decide if they're gonna have pockets or what they're gonna have. I do all that first, because what I find is sometimes, now, you can do it any way. There's no right or wrong, okay? There's no like, oh, my way is the only way. No, it's whatever works for you. Sometimes what I find is if I've embellished, or if I have an idea for wanting to embellish the pages, and I've already sewn them in, sometimes it becomes an alligator mouth. You know how your book gets really big and really fat? You know, it's like, instead of being, so that's just how I do it. And, you know, there's no right or wrong. You can do it any way you want. And sometimes, like, after I've done it, I also switch it up sometimes. If I've already sewn them in, I can't switch it up. Does that make sense? Okay, so how many of you guys are making along with me? You don't have to. And sometimes I iron my paper and sometimes I don't. I'm not going to iron this paper. I like the sound and the crinkly paper, and you know, when you bake it, it definitely comes out crinkly. But you can do it any way that works for you. There's no right or wrong in junk journaling. So I'm figuring, like, a junk journal in this size, I think for me the max pages is probably 20 folded. So that would be 2 signatures of 10. Or 3 signatures of, you know, I mean, you can do it any way you want, but 2 signatures of 10 generally works good for me. What do you guys think? I don't know why I like the crinkly sound. I just do. Okay? I know it's like weird or whatever. So instead of planning out the whole journal, let's just like take it page by page and work on a couple things together. Okay, so I like pockets in my journals, and I'm going to show you guys what I sometimes do. Like, these were just copy paper, tea-dye, cut in half. Okay, now, but if I'm going to make pockets in my journal, sometimes I keep the paper and I'll fold it up like this and make a pocket or a tuck spot, right? I'll show you one of my favorite folds, and I don't know how it's going to work for this journal, but I'll show you a couple of my favorite folds. Oh, you guys, I feel like the adrenaline, like, have you ever had, like, you know how you get all hyped up over the adrenaline of something happening, and then when it's done, you try to breathe, you're breathing, and you're just like, oh, it's like I don't want to say it's like a letdown, but kind of, you know what I mean? Like, you've sighed it out, you breathed it out. I'm telling you. Well, the food came out good, so everybody ate and then they left, so. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not hearing everything you guys are saying. Laurel says she's been collecting stuff and she hasn't been able to make one yet. You haven't done any dyeing and you need to do more of everything. You know what? Take it in spurts. Get yourself 10 pieces of copy paper, coffee or tea dye them. It doesn't take that long. You know, some people do it on a really low oven. I do mine on a higher oven, and then I watch it, and I don't leave them in there very long. And the longer you leave them in there, the darker they'll become. Okay, so I took an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, folded it in half, and folded it in half again. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to opposite corners. I'm going to fold in one. Okay, and then I'm going to do it on the other side, the opposite corners, and this is going to make 2 pockets for my journal. Okay, so this is going to be a page in my journal. Do you see here's a tuck spot here and a tuck spot here? And what's cool about it is, I cleaned off my table, you guys, before I cleaned it off yesterday. I'm telling you, I know I have a glue stick on here because I had 100 million of them. So I am going to glue them. I don't soak my paper. You know why I don't soak my paper is because I don't see the point to it. it's really, what's going to give you the darker look is the baking it longer. That's just me. And I also find, like, sometimes if you soak your paper, it gets so fragile and so wet. That's just my thing. But, you know, do it however you like it. If soaking works for you, do it. So I'm just going to glue my tucks down, my parts that I've tucked in. See, you guys, pity pat pat. I should have just had that in mind today. I should have just let the cooking go. Then I wouldn't have blown up my stove. Oh my gosh, you guys. How ridiculous is that? So here's one. Now when I sew it together when I sew it into the journal, when I sew the journal together, it'll be caught at the top and the bottom, and so you don't have to glue it in the middle, okay? Now what you can do is, if you want to, you can glue it a little bit on the sides right here, just so it shuts all the way. Not necessarily mandatory, but it works good. These are just basic folds that I try to include in every journal that I make. You know, you may have something that works better for you. And if you have really large paper, you can do some crazy magic folding. You know what? I don't soak any of my paper. If it works for you, I say do it. But you know, it's like, I can't see the point. It took me maybe 15 minutes to make 100 pages of paper. I don't stick them in individually. I pile them all on top. I pile maybe 20 pages on top of each other, on top of that pizza pan, and they're sprayed. I put them in a 350-degree oven. I leave them in there maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I just watch them. And then I pull them out and flip them over, spray them. Sometimes I spray them again, sometimes I don't, and flip them over and then do the same thing. I'm sorry, I'm missing what you guys are saying. You're saying you left it in too long? You left it in, what, the oven too long? Is that what you're saying, Kathy? You know, everybody's oven is different. You know, I think if you have a gas oven, you probably don't even need to leave it in that long. You know, some people like to cook them out on 200, and they do fine too. You know? And mine are not all uniformly colored. I could have probably sprayed them more and left them in longer, but I didn't see the point. So that's one of my other favorite folds. Now, I think I may do a couple of different folds, and I may have to cut the paper. So that's okay too. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a junk journal. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. I just wanted to see how much I was going to have to fold up in order to get a fold like this. To make my pages sort of even. Right? So that I could have I'm thinking I may have a fold out. So this is how I'm going to do this one. Are you guys talking about your paper? I'm sorry, I'm missing it. What are you saying? Fiona's saying she puts her papers in the sink, but not for long. And you have a gas oven and dryers, and they turn out good. So there you go, and still crisp. So Fiona says she soaks hers. So no, there's no right or wrong. Do it. You'll find the way that works for you. Somebody just asked me. I would never even really talk about paper dyeing, but somebody asked me here, how did I do it? And that's why I shared with you what I did. I like the color of this better, I think. I'm going to do it this way. I like the contrast of the dark against the lighter color. If I was in my own house dyeing them, I might have dyed them. I might have taken longer to do it. But because I was dyeing them in somebody else's kitchen, I didn't. Okay? So these are just a few of the folding ideas, right? This one, these are just plain, right? And you want to stagger them. You don't want to put them all together the same, but I'm just giving you some ideas of what I do. Now, sometimes what I do is I'll take a piece, let me find a piece that's a little straighter than this, and I will make my own corner pockets this way, and I'll show you. What are you guys saying? I'm missing out. All you need is what? You know what? You can put them outside, depending upon, the thing is this, it's not about the drying, it's about the oven actually bakes your paper, right? So it keeps it in, if you bake it, say your tea dyeing is not as dark as you'd like it, say your tea wash isn't as dark as you'd like it, if you want to make it darker, then put it in the oven. That's just all it is. So if you want some corner tucks, you remember how we made our little envelopes last time? You can do it similar like that too. You know, you can do some corner tucks. You just need a small square piece. And sometimes I'll use, like, I save all the scraps of different book pages and things that I've done and used, right? So maybe you don't want your tuck that large. Fold it again. And if you go back and watch some of the other videos I've done, I do a bunch like this where I've done them like this, and they'll make double pockets here. Sometimes I even sew them together. So it's really up to you what you want to do. I'm just going to glue mine in, glue them down, glue them together. So that is just what's going on with me, you guys. See, never dull in my house. Never, ever, ever. Weren't we just talking about this yesterday? Like, I can't even make this stuff up. No, I think the oven is old, and I think it might have just eroded something. What do you guys? I'm sorry, I'm missing it. All you need to do is put your paper outside, and it turns yellow in the Vegas sun. Oh no. Well, whatever works. Like, there's no right or wrong. So if you guys have like cool little bits of stuff that you've been saving for a while, like, I don't know, little pieces of lace or little pieces of fabric and stuff like that, you know, these are great places to, and great ways to use them is now in your junk journal, right? So I'm just gonna glue the edges of this pocket right here, just to a little tiny edge, so that I can have a tuck spot. So this is what I do. So who was asking me earlier if I sew my pages? Yeah, you know what? It depends. It depends upon the journal. It depends upon my mood. If I'm in a hurry, yeah, but I can sew them all and then do it. But sometimes I like to just fiddle with them, and I find it easier to fiddle with them and embellish them all when they're flat than when they're in the book. What, Lisa? Wait, did you say you're going over 100 degrees all this week? Oh my gosh. You should do some coffee dyeing? Definitely. Ooh, that's hot. It's been really hot here too, and it doesn't usually get that hot. Usually August is a hotter month. So now this page has a couple of little tuck spots right there. Like, I'll show you. Let me find one of the tags that I made yesterday. So this one has like 2 places, actually 3 places to, 3 little tuck spots to put your tags in, right? So that's another one, and maybe on this side I'll do something else. Maybe I'll take the piece that I took off here. Now if you have some cool lace, you could just go ahead and glue a piece of lace over it if you wanted. Or glue a piece of fabric. I mean, whatever works for you. No rules in junk journaling, no rules in junk journaling. If you are going to glue fabric in, though, I would suggest that you use like a fabric glue or a thick designer tacky glue or something like that. You know? Laurel, I loved your book. It was so beautiful. Great, great, great job. Totally cool. Did I fiddle or pity pat? I did not pity pat today. I was just telling everybody, Brenda, I blew up my stove or whatever. I don't know. I didn't pity pat. Normally I would. I would have pity patted. I was all excited this morning to get up and do all that stuff, and in the end it was just one big. It was me cooking a meal over at my neighbor's house, and tea dyeing papers and baking them in her oven. So there was no pity pat today. I did not pity pat. Though I could have. Okay, so now this pocket has a small tuck spot here and a small tuck spot here. Okay, and that's what I do. I just keep deciding, like, oh, this one's gonna have this is gonna have that. Until I feel like I have enough. Now you can always go back and add more. It's not like, you know, what I've done is the end or whatever, but you can always go back and add more. I could make, yes, I love her. She's awesome. Yes, you can make the big 12 by 12. If you guys go online and watch Diana Trout, have you guys watched her on YouTube? She's awesome. She is so awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. She has some really cool folds and stuff like that too. She's been a bookbinding teacher for a long time, so I would say go watch her. You'll really learn a lot. She's got a lot of cool stuff going on. So, as I said, I think I'm going to do 2 signatures of 10 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you can also add tuck spots on the side, and if you're going to add doilies to your journals, those make really great tuck spots. But this is just how I start mine, you know. This is just how I start to work on mine. So tell me what you ladies are working on. Tell me about what's going on with you. I want to hear all about it. I want to hear about how was your 4th of July. Those of you that didn't join us yesterday, how was your 4th? I want to hear about what you guys did. Did you have amazing barbecues? What did you do? What did you do? I just crafted. Okay, what did Noni say? Oh no, you spilled your crafting adult beverage, Noni? Oh no! Well, I'm having I guess this isn't any kind of beverage. I'm just having tea, but I understand what it feels like to knock your stuff down over it. It's like horrible. All of those of you that are lurking out in the ethers, pop in and say hi, please. Just say hello. What's kind of cool is if you wanted to just start folding and making tuck spots for your pages. You can use this in any type of journaling, even if it's junk mail. Okay, so it's not just regular paper. What I was gonna do, I was looking for a piece of wax. I have a bunch of, I did go, the one thing I did do before I caught my oven on fire, caught my stove on fire, or whatever I did to my stove, was I crawled in my garage and I found some of my trims and bits, stuff that remember I told you guys we cleaned up or whatever, I cleaned up, so I found some of it. Now if you guys haven't tried Glimmer Mist, I like it. This one's called Coffee Shop. It does have like a little bit of a sheen. They may have a lighter color than this, but I like this one. So I'm gonna make a piece so that I can use it as a fold for a tuck spot. So Tell me what you girls have on your agenda besides making our Shabby Chic Journal and not catching your own stove on fire like me. Catching your stove on fire. That kind of, I have to tell you guys, it kind of put a damper on my day so far. It's like maybe my heart's still racing from it. Laurel says that she worked on. You're gonna come back with a cup of coffee and a cookie. Awesome, Fiona. You guys, we cannot get through a stream without talking about cookies. Where's Jennifer? Jennifer's not here. Where's Jennifer? Jennifer's gonna talk about her cookies. I know that. Right, Jen? You're gonna talk about your cookies? Now, if you were gonna do your corner rounds, I would do them before you decide all this, and then corner round your things. Or you could glue them and corner round them too. What do you get? Yeah. So Laurel says she's worked on storage purging for this huge garage sale. Awesome! You're having a garage sale. Love garage sales. Everybody's garage selling, right, Diana? You're garage selling. Who else is garage selling besides Diana and Laurel? Diana and Laurel are garage selling, which I think is awesome. Good for you. Lisa made cupcakes. Awesome. And Anne had lemon cake. I love lemon cake. Oh my god, it's one of my favorites. How did you get to cookies already? We got to cookies because of Fiona. Fiona and her cookies. Fiona came back with cookies. I'm just having tea with no cookies. I'm having tea with no cookies. Laurel, tell everybody about your needle book. It was so beautiful, and not only was it really beautiful, but she things that she put in, the laces that you put in it were stunning. So beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful, Laurel. They were awesome. So this is going to be one of my tuck spots. And how many of you guys are making along? Who else is making along besides me? Who's making along? Because you don't even have to be making a Shabby Chic journal. You could be making your own journal or working on something else. So alright, so there's one. I'm going to do another one, but I didn't cut it straight. Okay, Anne's already gone straight for the slutty brownies. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. We went from cookies to lemon cake to slutty brownies. Oh my goodness, you guys are crazy. I'm just having tea, okay? There is no slutty brownies here. I am just having tea. You guys are so funny. What are you making, Diana? Tell everybody what you're working on. Diana got a feather dye. Did you guys see it in our Facebook group? If you guys haven't joined our Facebook group, head on over. It's called Crafting Mamas. And everybody shares their really cool stuff they're working on. And Diana got this dye, this feather dye. And she has been a feather cutting fool. Am I right, Diana? So, Laurel's saying, is this the recipe for slutty brownies? It's chocolate chip cookies, brownie mix, Oreos, and I believe pudding mix. Wow, I want that. And Alta saying she got a new storage rack and now she's having to make room for it tomorrow. Oh, I can relate to that. You're taking a load to Goodwill and you don't desire a garage sale. I can get it, Alta. I understand that. The feather dye is awesome that Diana got. Oh, you overdid it, Diana. You're not going to make a long. You guys are so funny. Laurel, I loved all the stuff that you made your needle book with. I thought it was excellent. I loved all of it. Guys, don't stress out if you don't get it perfect. Okay, this is a junk journal, and you can always fix it. Like you can always trim off a little or add a little or whatever works for you. You know, you don't have to stress out about it. It doesn't matter. This is kind of a departure from my normal trashy junk journals, don't you guys think? I usually am all about the junk mail, which I still love. I mean, I do love junk mail. I do love junk mail, and I do love a good junk mail journal. So I hope this gives you spark some ideas. So you don't really need a lot of stuff. So, you know, just use what you have. You know, use what you have. This is just copy paper, manila envelope, copy paper. You know, this is nothing too fancy yet. I don't even know if we'll get into the fancy today, but I'm gonna work on it a little bit. 1, 2. 7. So 3 more pages, and then this signature will be good. And I am going to add lace to the outside pages. I am. And I may come and add some tuck spots and stuff to the other side too. So I'm just doing one side so far, and then I may go back and add more tuck spots. These pages are regular, yes, 8.5 by 11 cut in half. That's what it is. Because it's going to go in this tiny envelope, which is like I think a 6 by 9. So it's going to end up being, you know, like this. It was an 8.5 by 11 piece of copy paper cut in half. So it started out like this, and then I cut them all in half, right? And then I just started assembling my pages. Alright, you lurkers, speak up and say, hey, tell us who's out there. We can see you, but we don't know who you are. I'm going to add a couple more pages. And then I'm going to add some, I might do some stamping on them. So how do you guys do it? If you don't do it this way, how do you do it? You know, I cut them in half before I sat down, Fiona, because I cut them. I have one of those, paper cutters, like an old-fashioned guillotine or guillotine ones. So I cut them in half over there. Working flat just works better for me. Okay, I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just saying, and also too. Okay, how many of you have put together your whole journal and then like you misstamp something and it looks really horrible, and then you're just like, well, now I have to take the whole damn thing apart to fix whatever I did that doesn't look good? Am I the only person that has those kind of mistakes? Am I the only one that does that? I can't be. I cannot be the only one that does that. Hi, Joyce. Now this is a great time to get your dictionary pages too, you guys. If you have some dictionary pages, you have some book pages. I mean, I have all of that. It's a great time to get that and use that too. I'm not going to sew it together, so I'm just going to work on making some pages and making some pockets and stuff so I can go back and add it. I just don't have any right here by me. I'm telling you guys that today it totally threw me off with the oven fire threw me off, you guys. The oven fire. Well, it's actually the top of my stove. I'm not the only one, Liz. Okay, I'm glad to know. I have other papers too, but this was just for me to give you some ideas of like what you can do, because so many times people don't have access to those papers, you know, and some people don't, you know, they don't have dictionary pages, or they don't have, and they still want to have a really, they want to like their journal experience, right? They want to like it. They want to feel like what they're making is something they're really going to enjoy. And so they don't have it. So, yeah, I usually put math pages, like I have some old math books, algebra books, chemistry books. Okay, Noni says Jessa fixes everything. Okay, Noni, I agree. Okay, Fiona says she doesn't do it. She hasn't technically made a junk journal. The 5 journal books you've made were what? They were put together by ruling and cutting every page by hand. Ah, that's okay. Every page by hand's awesome. No, Joyce, I just blew up my stove today. I don't know what I did. I think honestly it has an electrical short in it. But let's just say my day didn't go exactly as I had planned. I had planned on making some. Doing a whole bunch of other stuff that I could do at my own house, and I ended up having to go to somebody else's house so that I could use their stove. Okay, it's just me, you guys. That's just how it rolls some days for me. You guys know me. You know my ridiculousness. You guys know me. I'm digging this stamp. This is a Prima stamp. I was telling you guys yesterday that I got a long time ago from Peachy Cheap, and then today Diana sent me a link to Peachy Cheap, and they had stamps on today's deal too, but I think today was like planner stamps or something. Diana, wasn't that what it was? So this is a fun time to get out all the stamps and stuff that you have that you love that you haven't used, or maybe you have used them. I mean, I don't know. It's just a fun way to start using your stuff. And I do have some music pages that I tea-dyed. I didn't tea-dye any math pages though. I didn't tea-dye any. Sometimes I put maps in mine. Do you guys put maps in yours? I'm just trying to decide what kind of page I want. If I want a and they don't all have to be the same size, you guys. Most of the time in my regular junk journals, they're not. Hi, Amberly, you're not late. So, Fiona, you made a scrap journal by sewing the pages together? Is that what you did? You did like a fabric paper? Is that what you did? I like making fabric paper. It's pretty fun to make, I think. I know what I was going to do. I was going to show you guys my finds. I'll show this to you in a minute. I feel like Noni, I feel like I need an adult beverage, okay? After my morning, I need an adult beverage. And I haven't And believe me, it is way too early here to have an adult beverage. I guess it's not if you're on vacation, but I'm not on vacation, so. You know, Amberly, the best kind of music paper to get is get a piano, like a piano book. Just a, you know, piano music. And because they don't really have words on them, so you can use it for any kind of, any type of thing. At least that's what I think. But obviously, let's see what I'm going to do. Debbie's saying for music papers, try the library in their used shop. That's a good idea. Okay, Fiona's telling me about her journal. She said the cover was fabric and signatures were sewn in with seam binding. Oh, awesome. And the dangle parts were a feature on the outside. It's awesome. Did you post that? Was that what... I saw that you posted some really amazing things, some beautiful images of vintage stuff in the group. But I didn't look, was it a journal? I thought it was just tags. Okay, Fiona's also saying she's been working on a crazy patchwork bed running. Oh, you're working on a bed, like a bedspread? For her queen size bed. Oh wow, it's all hand stitched just for a queen size bed. Oh my gosh, I bet it's gorgeous. Mod Podge won't smear permanent ink, but it will smear things that are not permanent pigment. So if you're gonna like seal anything, you're gonna use stamp pads that are not archival ink or permanent ink. Just it will smear just like everything, you know. It just works like that. So okay, this has got 8 so far, and then 2 more, and that'll be the signature. And then yeah, because see, if you want to add stuff to it, I may have to go back and trim a few of the pages. If you want to add more to it, this only has 8, so this is going to be double. If you add stuff to the journal, it's going to get really fat. Laurel, I loved what you made, and I thought it was brilliant, and it's very detailed, and it was excellent. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Hand sewing takes a long time, Fiona. You know, I think that people, it's like making it's a piece of art. So you're enjoying it and you're, you know, taking your time to do it. I think it's awesome. Now I am going to put lace on the outside of this. And outside of these pieces. I don't know how much lace I have. I'm going to put some lace and I'm going to put some... Oh, see, I laid this in something. It doesn't matter, though. I laid it in something. What did I lay it in? There wasn't anything there, but I did. I laid it in something. I guess there was something and I just didn't even see it. So... I can go back and cover it up. Okay, Laurel's asking me... What do I put on the printed paper if it's just for decoration? What are you asking? Are you talking about like sealer glue? Or are you talking about stamping? What are you asking me? What do I put on wet paper? You have to be a little bit more specific because I'm telling you, girls, my little fire made, made me brain dead today. I'm like, ah. Oh, you guys, seriously. Could I like not have something happen? That would be like so amazing. Noni sewing does take patience. No, and it's good to know what you like and what you're willing to do. You know, some people are just like, they don't even give themselves a chance. Guys, for my little dog. She is still freaked out from the fireworks. How many of you guys have animals and they're still freaked out from the fireworks? Is mine the only one? She is freaked out from the fireworks. Laurel, you have to be a little bit more specific. Okay, you're asking, plain paper is a canvas. What do you put on printed paper? How does that work? What are you saying? Like, are you talking about tea dyeing it? Or are you talking about gluing it? Joyce is saying to Fiona that, you know, she, I agree with you, Joyce. Joyce says Fiona's going to look back on the years later after her handmade, after what she made, and she's going to say, I really, you know, be really proud of herself for making it. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, Laurel. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific because I'm not 100% sure of exactly what you're asking me. Because I'm using my stencil as a stamp. So this is just a piece of packaging that I cut out with my die cutting machine. It was a tea box. And then I'm going to stamp it. I put some Tim Holtz Distress ink on it, and I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to use it as a stamp. Okay, you're asking, you want to sing stencils? How do you join on the printed paper? Okay, I missed the whole conversation, so I don't really quite know. So see, you can use anything as a stamp. So, I'm sorry girls, I'm not following your conversation. You guys are all writing so fast. Let's see, it says, I agree with you, Fiona. Things that are handed down are special, but all my grandmothers were quilters, and I have them. Yeah, my dogs are freaked out. I don't even, like, she didn't even eat yesterday because of it. Oh, do I journal on printed paper? Is that's what you're asking? Yes, I journal on printed paper. You mean like music paper and paper like that? Is that what you're asking? Like, what do I write on it? Yeah, I do. You can gesso over it if you want, and if you want to use, you are going to have to sometimes, if you use a heavy acrylic paint and stuff, you're going to have to use, I don't know, I use a gel pen when I write on stuff. But sometimes I write on, sometimes I don't write on it. Sometimes I draw on it or paint on it. Do you guys ever do that too? Do you guys ever draw on it or paint on it? Now I understand what you're asking. I didn't understand. I'll collage on them. I collage on the music pages, or I doodle on them, or write on them, or nothing. Sometimes I just leave them in there. You know, just as like a decorative paper. You know, not everything you have in your journal, you can, first of all, there's no rules to it. You can do anything you want on your page. It's not like one or the other is a right or a wrong. Okay? But if you, next time we get together, I'll show you, if I can show you without, like, if you can't really see all the personal stuff I write, I'll show you what I write on them. I'll show you how I write in them. Because, I think that's a really valid question. So everybody asks, like, how do you write on it? What do you do? In fact, I don't have my junk mail in here. I made a junk mail journal that I really love, and I use it all the time. I draw in it, I paint in it, I collage in it, I collect in it. So if you like to do collage and stuff like that, and you want a place to house your stuff, like I put it in, like I might stick all these pockets might be filled with stuff that I was going to possibly put in another journal. Hi, Linda. So, I mean, there's no right or wrong, you know, and it's just all with what you're comfortable with, right? It's all in what you're comfortable with. So, I mean, you could write directly onto music paper. I mean, you know, you could journal on it. You could draw on it. You could paint on it, collage on it. So, alright, so I'm getting, this one's almost 10, I think. Almost 10 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Alright, there's 11 pages in this, but I think it's plenty big because it's going to be double that. So 11 pages, double that, and plus it's going to have trim and embellishments and stuff. I think it will barely shut after that. So I'm going to just keep working on it. I'm going to do some stamping and stuff. But all those die cut things that you have, especially like if you like one of these, this one came from a Tentley tea box. But if you like this sort of thing, or you like a certain stencil or die cutting thing that you have, do it in something heavier. If you do coat it, give it a couple coats of some sort of varnish, like a Mod Podge type or a designer tacky glue, and you let it sit, it will become where you can use it and paint over and over and over again. So that's just my 411. So this one has 11 pages, and it doesn't have very much embellishment yet, but it does have. I may go back and put some embellishment on the outside of the pages. That might be what I'm going to focus on now. Let's see. Let us see. Like some pockets. This is just for pockets and tuck spots. This isn't for like the embellishment with the embellishment of the I'm going to put something there. The embellishment of the lace and stuff. This is just one. This is like the beginning layer of embellishments. The beginning. If you guys have your punches make great tuck spots. I don't have anything close by. Alright, what are you girls saying? I'm missing it. I'm trying to watch, and I'm feeling a little disheveled today because of my ridiculousness. Maybe I'll see. I have some book pages right here. Maybe I'll make a small book page envelope too. I think I might include on that. So tell me what you girls are planning. Does anybody have some big vacation planned for the summer? You guys gonna go to like some place that you've been waiting to go to for a very long time? It's the weather's always nice here, so it's a little bit hard for us. It would be like if you wanted a temperature change to go from where it's already hot to hotter is not. Not on my agenda, but what are you guys thinking about? You're coming to Hawaii? Come on. I would love it if you girls came. Oh my god, I would love it if you guys came. Oh my god. So, Poopsie, as you guys call him, moved like a bed, tried to deal with me trying to deal with the stove on fire thing. It happened like right after he'd like loaded the car to go. So he was like, oh my god. And then he dealt with the daughter, who was like, you know, all over the place and, you know, telling us about every possible thing, you know. You know what it's like when you're 19. And I had bought her a dress, and I had left it in her room, but I hadn't seen her because she was gone and then I was gone. I hadn't seen her to see if she liked it, to which she said, now mind you, she tried it on. It looked incredibly beautiful on her, but instead of her saying, oh, that's just such a nice dress, all she could say, you guys, was, I need to lose more weight. And I was just like, and she's already so skinny, so I was just like over it. After the stove catching on fire, I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna let that be. we're not even gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. We're not even gonna touch any of that. We're not even gonna go there, because we'll just be opening up a can of worms where no one's gonna win, right? So I was like, oh, we're just gonna let that go. You guys come on. I would love it if you guys came to Hawaii. Hawaii is a great place to visit, you guys. It is. I love living here. I will say it's not always easy living here, but I love living here. It's not always easy because when you're used to a level of I don't know how to nicely put it. When you're used to a level of certain comforts, right? You don't always find them in places like this. And you don't know that until you live here. So living here is, at least on the island I live on, I'm not saying living on the island of Oahu. You know, Oahu is like is the island where Honolulu is, and that's sort of like the New York City of the Hawaiian Islands. Okay. Your grandmother turns 100 this year, Noni? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. What would Poopsie think if you all showed up? You know what? He wouldn't even know what to think. He would just be like, okay, you know what? You know, that's when you know someone really cares about you, when they don't react to anything that could possibly, like, he doesn't have any sort of reaction to, he would just roll with it. He would roll with it. He would definitely roll with it. I know I told you guys I'd never get married again, but you know, he's a good guy. He really is. He deals with me. He deals with my kids. He deals with his kids. He deals with, you know what? He's good. He just really doesn't have issues. I'm the one with issues. He doesn't really have many issues. He just rolls with it. He'd be good if you guys all wanted to come. His motto is whatever makes me happy makes him happy. Which is generally like, you know, he's good. I'm telling you. He's good. Now, I don't know if he was always that way, you know, because it's his second go-round too. So I don't know if he was always that way or if that's just how he is now, you know. But he's good with it. He would love it. You're going to Arizona? Awesome! Oh, he got renamed to Poopsie yesterday. And Hottie. Oh, he was Hottie when you fell asleep, Liz. Oh my god, you guys are so hilarious. I'd hold him. Your grandmother's a pen pal to everybody, Noni? Noni, join our Facebook group and put your grandmother's address in there, and we could all send your grandmother a birthday card. At least I will. How many of you ladies would be in to send a Noni's grandmother a a birthday card for her 100th birthday? Are you girls game? You girls game? Come on, you crafting fiends. How many of you guys will send Noni's grandmother a card? We'll send your grandmother a card, Noni. Make sure you join the Facebook group, and we'll send your grandmother a card. Or I will. Susan said she'd send your grandmother a card too. Kathy said she would send your grandmother a card too. And Elaine said she will too. So Noni, you gotta join the Facebook group and put your grandmother's name and address in there, and we'll all send her a birthday card, and we'll just say our names, and then just say, and we're friends of Noni. You know what? I think that's awesome. 100 years old. Fiona Jane, awesome. Bet said she'd send her one. Fiona will. So Noni, you gotta go and join, and just give us your grandma's address. Fiona's gonna send her a card. We can all, I think it's awesome, Fiona. It doesn't have to be a made card. It can be a bought card. Whatever works for you. Okay, how many of you guys make journals and actually journal in them? Can you guys tell me? Who makes journals and journals in them? How did I end up in Hawaii, Noni? Oh my gosh, it's a ridiculous story. You guys always ask me the most ridiculous things, but okay, so I ended up here in Hawaii. Want the short version or the long version? When I was a kid, when I was small, I used to tell my family that I was from here. I used to realize I grew up in Texas. I don't even know how I even came up with that. But I used to tell them, I think kids are really connected to yourself, and you know what's best for... Look, see, Renee's going to send your grandma a card. Look, we're going to I'll send her a card, Noni. We're all excited to do that. So, when I was a kid, I used to tell my family, they used to say, like, and my parents traveled all over the world. It wasn't like, and I hadn't traveled here when I was little. I don't even know how I even knew about it. And my parents didn't really talk about it. So it wasn't like something where my parents said, oh, you know, something about Hawaii. I used to tell my parents I wanted to come to Hawaii, and I used to tell my parents I was from Hawaii. Like when I was little. My mother was a dancer, was a professional dancer. And I don't mean burlesque dancing. Okay, I know you some of you girls already have that idea, but she was a dancer. Anyway, when I was so I would always talk about coming here. And when people used to say to me, where do you want to go? And because my parents traveled all the time, you know, like my sister would say, or anyway, they would just say different places. Like my mother used to say when she would get all upset at us, she used to say, I'm running away, I'm running to New York. If you guys can't find me, I'll be in New York. That's what she used to say. But I always talked about coming here. And when I was really small, maybe 4 or 5, I knew how to do the hula. Like, spontaneously knew how to do the hula. My mother was a dancer. She didn't teach hula, but anyway, I was obsessed with it. So, I was about 5. I think I danced the hula, the traditional Hawaiian hula, not the Americanized version of the hula. There were like thousands of people at a convention or some sort. And my mother was a dancer, so she had a dancing company and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, you know, you grow up and you forget about all that sort of stuff, or I did. And when I was in my early 20s, or maybe I wasn't even 20 yet, I had kind of a wild life, you guys. I'm pretty normal now, but I left home when I was 17 years old. I decided that school is for the birds, and I graduated a year early because I thought it was ridiculous. And I went off to New York. And with no money in my pocket, I put myself through college. I went and I didn't even know what college I was going to go to. It was like a whole thing. But that's just kind of how my life was. It was very headstrong. So anyway, when I finished college, I must have been 20, maybe. Maybe I was 20, 21. I wasn't 21 yet. It must have been 20. I had a boyfriend at the time who, for a graduation present, because I always talked about it, gave me a trip to Hawaii. So you have to realize I was like 20 years old, and he and I came to Hawaii, and I have to remember this was like 30-something years ago, and I had this sort of crazy spiritual experience where he was a scuba diver, and he was a little older than me, not that much, but he used to scuba dive and stuff like that, so he took me scuba diving here, and I can't even tell you the magical experience I had, and 30 years ago it wasn't what it is today, so sort of had this crazy magical experience. And at one point there are these beautiful forests here and rainforest, and at one point I was in this beautiful rainforest here with my 20-year-old self, and you know, the Hawaiians are a very spiritual group of people, and a little man, small man, came out of the jungle. I was hiking with my friend, right? This small man came out of the jungle, and he was sort of like an oracle, like a fortune teller. And he said these kind of crazy prayers, or what they call in Hawaiian pule, over me, and said some sort of things like, you know, you're returning, and you have to realize I grew up in a very out there family, so this was par for the course for me as far as like things happening in my life. Anyway, so this sort of Hawaiian pule over me and said something like, you know, welcome back, and you know, this is where you were from, and you know, this is where you came back, and blah, 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 right? So to my friend, of course, he was like a little freaked out, but for me and how my life works, I wasn't freaked out. I was just like sort of an affirmation of like my whole life leading me to that moment. But then he said something to me, which as a 20-year-old you would not find very appealing. He like pointed to this place. It was like, realize we're in the rainforest, okay? We're in the middle of the rainforest, we're nowhere, and he's like, you know, and I think at that time I was like a crazy vegan. Put it this way, I didn't eat meat or something at that point. And he says, you know, that I needed to move here. He like pointed to this piece of land and said, this is where you should live and have a hamburger stand. And of course I was like, a hamburger stand? Like, what is he talking about? Anyway, I had a magical, crazy mystical experiences and sort of stuff like that. And then I went back to my life. You know, I went back and I went back to New York, and, you know, went back to my life. And I really didn't think about it. You know, I didn't think about, I mean, I loved Hawaii, but at the time there was nothing here, you guys. 30 years ago, there was nothing here. 30 some odd years ago. For me, I'm not saying that there wasn't stuff here, but there wasn't, it wasn't like some, it wasn't so appealing. Trust me, my kids think it's not there. They think it's boring because there's nothing to do here. It's just nature, right? So I went on and I lived my life, and I really never thought about it again. I mean, I really never, as obsessed as I was as a child over it. It was sort of like after I'd come, I let it go. And I never forgot about it. I mean, it was an amazing experience, and I never forgot about it. But I never thought about it again. Like, I never had the burning desire or whatever. And I lived my life. Well, about, I don't know, 12 or 14 years ago, I came to the islands for work, and I hadn't really been back since. I mean, maybe I had been maybe one time since that time when I was younger. I don't know, I travel a lot. I used to travel a lot. So anyway, I came back, and you know, if any of you have ever been to any of the outer islands, most of them don't have really big airports or anything like that. So this airport that we landed in is sort of like they like land you on a tarmac. You know, like you get off and you get off the plane, the steps of the plane actually come out on the runway sort of thing, you know. And then you wheel your suitcase or whatever you're carrying on the runway sort of thing, and then you walk into the airport. And when I was doing that, it was late at night. My flight was delayed, and I was by myself. Everybody else in my company had gotten here before I did. My flight was delayed or something. Anyway, I'm by myself on the tarmac. It's really late at night, and I hear really loudly, "Welcome home." And I looked around. I thought it was just somebody, you know, like saying something. And I was all by myself, you guys. There was nobody there. So this time I listened, you know, and I had a crazy experience. I worked the whole time, but it was sort of like I was, you know, working a regular job. But it was sort of like when you smell something familiar, or you have a familiar feeling of recognition on a higher level. And I had a wonderful time, but inside my heart it was like something switched on, just like it had when I was a small child, just like it had driven me to come when I was 19 or 20 years old, just that, with that same intensity. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then my job brought me here 2 or 3 more times in the next year, different islands, and you know, something inside of me shifted. And I thought, you know, I was living in New York City at the time, and I thought, I hate cold weather, and the winter was bad, and, you know, just things that I'm from a warm climate, and but more than that, it was sort of like a soul yearning. I don't know how to describe it to you. It probably sounds all hokey and all weird, but anyway, so fast forward, you know, my parents both passed away within a couple of years of each other, and my father had a very amazing experience when my father was passing. So I was in California in a job, and I got a phone call that said my father had been ill, and I mean, he had just taken ill. I just talked to him a couple of days before, and I needed to get there as soon as possible because he was on life support. And so I fly all night from California to where my father lives in Texas, and have to drive really far. I lived in the middle of Texas, in East Texas. And I get there, and my father, you know, they've told us that our dad had been put in for emergency surgery, and he, you know, is on life support, but because in the state of Texas, you had to have living relatives' consent, his living relatives' consent, so it was my sister and myself, before they would take him off. So, and he never wanted any of that anyway. So I go in there, and I see he's got all these tubes and everything, and I say, you know, after driving and flying all night, I say, can you take all the tubes out? And I'm going to go to the bathroom and get a cup of coffee, and I just knew I was just going to settle in for however long it took. Well, in the 20 minutes that it took me to, like, go into the restroom and wash my face, and go to the cafeteria and get my coffee, and they took all the tubes out. My father was awake, and they were shocked, and he said, "What took you so long?" My dad stayed awake for like 3 days, 3 or 4 days straight, no sleeping. They found out he had some rare congenital heart defect that he was born with. And after all this, my dad was in his almost 90 at this point. And my father starts talking to me in the deepest, most profound way. And he said to me, "What are you waiting for? You always have known this is where you wanted to be. And what are you waiting for?" Now, I hadn't said a word to him about it in years, since probably 20 years. And he said, "This life isn't a dress rehearsal. And you have to make the most of it. And every day you have is a gift. No matter how bad it is, it's a gift. And wouldn't you rather have your gift be something, if you're going to go through the struggles that everyone has in life, whatever they are for you, wouldn't you rather do it in a place where you feel most content and happiest?" So then after my father passed, I sold everything and I moved. So that's my story. So is that crazy or what? Is that ridiculously crazy? You asked and now I told you. So that's it. And I've been here ever since. So you ask and I told you. I just disguise myself as pity pat pat. But really, I'm something far more and far less, if you know what I mean. So that's my story. One of the many, aside from catching my stove on fire. Good night, Susan. Did I scare you? I'm sorry. Me too, Anne. Me too, Anne. Hi, Kate. Welcome. Me too. And I'm also a firm believer that there's no accidents. So the fact that you guys are all here with me, you're my peeps, And well, I'm glad I didn't scare you, Susan. I don't usually tell people all my ridiculousness. You guys only get my really ridiculousness. So, it's not easy living here, but I have to say the energy suits me. No, Susan, I love you guys too. You have no idea. I was talking to Potty, as you call him. Somebody calls him Potty. And I was just telling him that, never in my life would I have ever thought that I would have you think I should hula for you guys? Maybe. If you guys came here, I'd love to hula for you. The hula is a very sacred dance. The hula is about communion with the divine. We think it's just some action, some movement. So I'll share something even a little bit more special with you, too. Special to me with you guys. So, I don't really share all that with anyone. And I don't talk about it. It's just my life, And so when I moved here, my littlest daughter was very young. She was 2, I think. And she'll be 11. And when I moved back here for good. You know, it wasn't the year that I transitioned and kept coming and going and all that stuff with my job, but so we lived in a place on the west side of the island of Maui. And all the Hawaiian Islands hold a really special energy. But the west side of the Hawaiian Islands, the West Maui Mountains and all that is a very, the whole island's secret, but it's a really special place. You can see whales jumping all the time. It's really quite beautiful in the wintertime. Anyway, so one day I see her. She was probably maybe 3 at this point. And I ask her, I go, what are you doing? And I see her in the backyard, and she's like talking to herself, and she's got animals. She's like an animal whisperer. So we have all these animals. She's got all these animals around her, and she's like talking, and I'm live animals, not stuffed animals. So I ask her what she's doing, and she is doing what looks like the hula. Now you have to realize nobody's taught her the hula. Like, nobody has taught her or discussed it with her or shared it with her. And she's doing, and I ask her, what is she doing? And, you know, she's telling me that she was doing a dance for the land. She was doing the hula. So there you go. Okay, Noni's saying something to us. Noni says she's a nurse and a chaplain, and here's wonderful stories like that sometimes. Thanks, Noni. You know, the whales are so important, Fiona. Send them love. That's what I do. You just send them a lot of love. You know, I feel like I'm really blessed. You know, like, a lot of people have a lot of different things in their life. But, you know, for me, I just think it's I may not have the things, you know, the material things, but I have other things. And Noni, I think it's beautiful that you're a chaplain and a nurse. I think that's awesome. So anyway. Yeah, they do. They do put leis around your neck when you come. They do. A ring of flowers. Yes. Yes, maybe one day I'll make leis with you guys. I can do that. I make them all the time. You know, they give them for everything here. So, like, if somebody comes to visit or for everything. But it's a really fun place in that way. It's not fun if you like a lot of material stuff, okay? Because, I'm going to tell you, girls, it's just not like that here. Like our Kmart closed, okay? Oh, no, they do. They put leis around everyone's neck. They do. They do. I mean, a couple of things. It's like, okay, Lisa's asking me if I don't mind asking what's hard about living here. Well, it's just a different, the energy is really intense here. If any of you, have you guys ever walked into some place and you get chills just from being there and the energy just feels really high? You know, like the vibration is really high. Well, it's like that. And so that keeps you, it sort of like keeps you in your stuff all the time. It keeps you facing yourself. You know, does that make sense? And it's not, I don't know, people move on and off here really fast. Thanks, Laurel. You guys, I don't know. Yesterday you guys pushed me into doing a live stream, and you got my pity pat pat. Today you get my, like, you get my Oven on Fire and my hula story. It's just not, I don't know. Maybe somebody else can pipe in and explain it better than me. Okay, I'm liking how this is looking. I would like some different papers, so I may go back through my paper stash, but I may do some more like painting on them. I'm like digging this one. I guess it's because I'm so used to seeing junk that I don't know how to deal with it when it's plain. Thanks. I agree with you, Joyce. The divine is always working all the time. You know, living here is not for the faint of heart because you're constantly faced with yourself all the time. Not that you're not faced with yourself where you live, but it's sort of like, I don't know. Noni, you pipe in. You might know. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, I need 10 more pages for the other one. I think it's going to be good. I think I'm going to like it. And I think I'm going to like it once I start gluing lace and stuff to it. But I think I want to put some more... You guys, I was so freaked out over the oven thing. I was just trying to deal with it. And I'm making sort of light of it. But it was sort of... Oh, Noni, that's awesome. Oh, thanks, Fiona. You girls are awesome. Okay, so I think that I'm liking... I just never make plain journals, so I guess for me it's just a little plain for me. But that's okay, because if I add some... I need to get some doilies and stuff out and add that, and then maybe I would like to... Maybe I'll find some... I know I have some graph paper. That might go in here. I don't know if I want to put an algebra page in here, but... Now I have to do 10 more pages. But do you see how easy that is for you guys? It's not that difficult. So, and you can make one if you're not futzing around like me and talking about crazy stories. 2, 3, 6, 7. You could probably have already finished it, but I'm like futzing around with my own like ridiculousness. So, Fiona, it was like, you know what I was thinking more than scary and upsetting? I mean, I was like, my stomach was still like upset by the time I was talking to you guys. I was just thinking like, seriously, you know, it's like on today, that I was just like, kept thinking, this is ridiculous, it's happening today. You know, like, why couldn't it have happened a different day? Like a day that I didn't have anything going on. But I was more worried about the electric because, you know, everything corrodes here because we're in the middle of the ocean. So you don't think about it, but like I had one of the plugs in my house wouldn't work, and so I unscrewed the plate and I saw that the wires had all corroded. So I think for me, when the oven had its moment, I was just thinking, oh my God, is this like is this something worse? Does that make sense? Is there something worse going on here that I can't see? That's honestly what I was thinking. So that's why I'm a little afraid to turn it back on. It's not even about the cost of the oven, Fiona. It's about the electric. I want to make sure that the electric lines or anything inside the wall hasn't corroded. Does that make sense? So you guys, my life is like that. How I explained to you my long-winded how I ended up here story. My whole life is like that. My whole life. That's why all I can do right now is surrender to the process. Surrender to the process. I'm from the Galveston, Houston area, Alta. I'm actually not far from where, I was raised not far from where Bet and Susan lived. I had a wonderful family, you guys. I mean, I still have a wonderful family, but I only have a sister now, so both of our parents have passed, and our parents were older parents. Like, my dad was like, he was like 42, 47 when I was born, so we didn't have we had older parents, which was great, but at the same time, it's like, I lost my mom when I was in my 40s, so that was pretty, for me, that was pretty, traumatic. And my dad a few years after that, but. Yeah, that's why I didn't want it. I'm definitely going to have everything. Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. It's just different. It's just different here. And money is not the priority, but it is really expensive to live here. It's not so, you don't have, you do with less. Susan, I love you guys. You make me laugh. I feel like I have lots of family because I have you girls. I feel like I do. Guys, whoever's watching this, it's lurking in the background. They're probably like going, what in the is wrong with this woman? She's supposed to be making a Shabby Chic journal, and instead, she's like telling us her life story. Like, what is wrong with her? They're probably like, that girl needs to take a piss. She needs to take a chill. She needs to take a pill. Hey Ash! How was your dinner? How was your family? And how are you? How are you, my dear? Okay, all you people lurking in the back, you gotta say hi. You just gotta come out and say hi. You gotta chat with us and you gotta say, hey, your Hawaii story is ridiculous. It's crazy. What do you guys think? Dinner was burnt? Oh no! Oh my gosh, your dinner was burnt. Well, Ash, you know, you missed my story. My stove caught on fire, so I imagine I could have had some burnt dinner too, but I didn't. Oh my gosh. Hi, Brianna. Welcome. Alright, all you lurkers, say hey. Go hey. Hey. Okay. I am like, I think because I never do monochromatic, I'm like kind of in monochromatic moments. I'm gonna have to find my, I'm gonna have to figure out something, because you know me, I can't be having monochromatic everything. I got some monochromatic going on here. Well, I guess it won't be so monochromatic when I start putting my lace and stuff on it. But then the lace is all white or tea colored. Hi, Trish. Renee and I are soul sisters. We are totally soul sisters, Renee. You and I are like definite soul sisters. I'm still going to make my way to Chicago because I promise I want to come and see you. I want to go take a class from that teacher, and she teaches somewhere near you. That teacher, Crystal Neubauer, you guys, I posted her video in our Facebook group. She's like a collage artist. I like love her, you guys. I don't even know, I don't know her personally. I've never met her, but I feel like I want to take a class with her. And she teaches like all kinds of cool stuff. Like she teaches like mark making tools. Like, she's kind of like my girl too, because you know what? She teaches mark making tools from like sticks. Okay, she's even more of she must be more of a recycler than me. Okay, she's making her stuff. She's making her stuff out of nature. So I want to take a class with her, and she lives close to Renee. That's on my bucket list of classes. Remember I told you guys I have my crafty wish list? Well, that's on my crafty wish list. That's one of the things, one of the many things on my crafty wish list. Oh no, you have an upset stomach? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, please, there was almost no food here for us because of my ridiculous stove thing. My neighbor, thank goodness my neighbor, she thinks I'm a little weird, but it's okay. She was like all good with it. I fed her too, so. And I made, my daughter that came over today, or the one that I cooked for. Okay, I stopped cooking for anyone except my littlest daughter and Poopsie, Mr. Hottie, or whatever you guys want to call him, my partner. Because my kids are so picky. They're like, you know, one of them's a vegetarian, one of them's vegan, one of them only eats meat. It's just like ridiculous. So finally I just like, they all know how to cook, the grown ones, so I'm like, okay, cook for yourself. So today was like a big deal because she actually asked me to cook, so I cooked. So I stopped cooking for everybody, at least right now because it's so hot. Okay, you really need to get one. Lorelle's saying she needs to really get one done for a trip. She just can't find the extra time. What are you making? You mean making yourself a junk journal? Is that what you're talking about? Making yourself a journal, or are you talking about something else? Because I missed the comments before. Well, thanks, Joyce. I'm glad you liked my story. And I didn't even know I was going to tell you guys my story, so there. Oh, I bet you're an amazing storyteller. Thanks, Renee. It's on my bucket list. I did not catch Victor's live feed. I waited and I kept stalking to see if I could find Victor's live feed, and it never came up. So I missed his live feed. Okay? I was like waiting and waiting and waiting, and it was sweet that you guys, he's the sweetest guy. He's so sweet, and he's so sincere, you know. Don't you like his little nameplate that he made himself? Mr. Victor Crafter. I love it. I love that he made himself that. I think it's great. So this is just going to be the makings. I think I'm going to sew it together later on. I'm going to tea dye some more stuff. I think I'm going to make some. I definitely would like a different mix of papers in here, but maybe I'll just keep these papers and just embellish them a lot. I don't know what time his live feed is like. I don't know, Trish. I don't know. Go on his channel and when you subscribe to somebody's channel, if you click that little bell next to their after you subscribe, then you get your then you'll get all the info for when they go live and that sort of thing. But I don't know when he does it. He does it a lot, so. But it seems like I'm always asleep when he does. You know? And that's okay. It seems like I'm not always there when he does his live feeds. His live streams. It was 7 this morning your time, Bet. That's when his live thing was. So 7 o'clock your time would be like, what, 2 in the morning my time? Usually I'm up, but yesterday after the whole fireworks and the dog being so freaked out and all that, I was like done, you guys. I was like, alright. The dog was like really, really freaked out over the fireworks. And she didn't even go out. I mean, I had the dog and the cat, okay? They were both, like, they both decided that they needed to be on me. And then they both like, it was too much, so I went to bed. I must have gone to bed like 1-ish. Yeah, he's in the Ukraine, so I don't know the time difference in the Ukraine. So, yeah, I like his crafting stuff. He does some really cool eclectic crafting stuff, and I like it. And right now he's doing his whole series is like from found objects. He's doing stuff like that he makes from found objects. So I like that. So I'm thinking I'm gonna find a map page. I'm gonna put I got a tea-dye a map page. I'm gonna tea-dye a map page. I'm gonna tea-dye some envelopes, or maybe I can make some envelopes. I don't have some though. I could tea-dye that, and then I'm gonna, I don't know, you guys. I was gonna just do it with lace, but I'm thinking it needs more color. I think it needs some more color. I still have like a few more pages to go, and see, it's gonna be fat. Laurel, were you talking about making yourself a junk journal? Was that what you were talking about? You can't find time to make yourself a junk journal, or a journal, or something before you go? Is that what you were making? Yeah, be careful, Fiona. So I'm going to make you guys the list, and today, I mean later on today, first thing tomorrow, for the Friday's Christmas in July. And I think we're going to start off with something easy, but I don't know what, so I can't tell you yet. I just have to see what I have all the supplies for. So I may even need to cut some of the pages, because if I put lace on it, it's gonna, if I put lace on all the not all the pages, but say I put lace on some of the pages, I may need to cut them a little shorter, because otherwise I won't be able to close it. Or maybe I will. Happy birthday, Trish! Oh my goodness! Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Trish, happy birthday to you. Awesome, happy birthday. You got a tattoo to celebrate? Oh my goodness! What did you get? Oh, Trish. Oh man, you have to, oh, that's awesome. I don't even have a tattoo, you guys. My kids have tattoos. Guys, I'm a big chicken. I just don't, I have my own chicken issues. I have my own chicken issues. Okay, I don't know what kind of lace I'm going to put on it, but if I put lace on it, it's all going to stick out of the side. What kind of tattoo did you get? We're all dying to know now, Trish. Now that you've told us, you got a tattoo. I think it's great. I'm a big chicken. She got a heart. Oh, well done. I am too much of a big old chicken, okay? My kids, I've gone with them to get their tattoos, and they always try to get me to get one. But I'm like, no. Not doing it. Not doing it. I like this lace. Somebody sent it to me. Isn't it beautiful? I wish I had more of it. Isn't it really cool? Somebody sent this to me in Happy Mail. And I look at it, it's machine made, but I like it. And it's not perfect, and that's what I love about it. And I don't think it's vintage, because I don't think they had sergers. And good for you. You want a tat? I'm just too chicken, you guys. People here, tattoos are a big deal. Everybody has a tattoo here. I don't have a tattoo. Okay? Alright. This one, I need to like focus on doing some pockets and some more pockets than I have, and some trims. I'm going to do laces on it, but this is it. It's going to be this fat without anything in it, and then I'll just put some tags in it. And I think I'm going to put some flowers on the front. You guys are so funny. I'm just a big chicken for the tattoo thing. How many of you girls have tats? Come on, speak up and tell us who has tats. Diana, are you still around, or did you run away? Who has tats? You need to make a journal, Laurel, for you're like a vacation journal. Is that what you're gonna make? Is that what you want? You want to make one to take with you on vacation? Is that it? Well, you could have made one in the time I sat here, because Fran doesn't have a tattoo. Debbie doesn't have any tattoos. I don't need a Debbie. Fiona says she's not doing it. She says she's not doing a tattoo. Okay, and Susan says no, not her either. You guys, I don't know. My kids are always like, oh, come on, come on. I just can't do it. You guys, I just can't bring myself to do it. So I have a few more pages to do. I'm gonna I gotta make some tuck spots in the front one. And then I'm thinking I'm gonna add something, I don't know. Because I never make plain journals, so. Trish didn't have one until today, but it's Trish, it's your 70th birthday. You can have a tattoo, okay? If you're 70 and you want a tattoo, sister, have a tattoo. Have a tattoo. I'm just a big old chicken, okay? I can't do a tattoo. I can't do a tattoo. I'm not, hey, whatever works for you, I'm all game for it. It's just, I'm the one. You know what? I had 3 children. That was enough for me, okay? That was my 3 children are my tattoo, okay? Ash says she's thinking about getting one too. And Joyce says she doesn't have one either. You guys are so funny. I'm proud of you, Trish. Good for you. You guys are so funny. Alright, I am going to sit and figure out my strategies, because I want to make some lace pockets, but I haven't dyed any of this. I have this synthetic lace that I like, but it doesn't hold dye, so I mean it doesn't hold any, like I can't tea dye it, so I'm gonna have to use some sort of acrylic paint. And then I also think I gotta sit with it for a little bit, because I never make plain journals. You girls out there that make these journals like this, not that there's anything wrong with it, I'm just used to the eclectic. You girls are so funny. You have to send us a picture, Trish. Please, please post a picture. We'd love to see it. Okay, Friday, I don't know what we're going to make. It's a toss-up, okay? So we could make really simple Christmas ornaments. We could make... I do want to make a wish box with you guys, but I don't have any rice paper, so that's going to take me a few days to get that. Or I'm going to have to go search for it. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. We can also continue to work on this. I gotta sit with it, because I'm not a plain Jane girl, so I don't know how to, I gotta sit with my monochromatic, and I've gotta sit with my, I also wanted to get my sewing machine out. Maybe I'll sew some of the pages, like sew some stuff on the pages. And I am going to find some sort of paper for the inside here. Then I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to poke a hole just in this side, and I'm going to just wrap it around. I think that's how I'm going to close it. I think that that's going to be the closure. I'm thinking I might put some flowers on it. I don't know. And if I'm contemplating doing a pamphlet stitch and then covering the back after I've sewn it with some lace, or poking 2 holes and doing it like a traveler's notebook. And if I do traveler's notebook, I'll use my 2mm black. Now see, this is when I need your white elastic if I do that. Okay, so Laurel's saying she needs, okay. Yeah, haven't you ever made pockets of lace? I've made them many times in other journals. Look what I have so far, Trish. It's so plain. You know, the cover is just that napkin, you guys. It's that paper napkin, and then I just whitewashed it. That's all it is, because it was so bright. Making pockets with lace is awesome. The very first junk journal I ever made, I made pockets and lace because I had some, and they came out really good, and my daughter still uses it. It's a napkin, Joyce. It's nothing. It's a manila envelope with a napkin. I'm still gonna, I have to grunge the sides, and anyway, I know what I'm gonna show you guys before I sign off. I'm sorry, I was like not my entertaining self today, guys. I don't know. Today just was like a weird day. It was like, it was totally weird. So I told you that yesterday in my live stream that Poopsie brought me some books, and I'm going to show them to you. So somebody was throwing away this bag of books, or it's actually a box. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll show you some of my favorites. And I'm not, whoever I was talking to yesterday said, you know, that I should think about it before I cut them up. I'm not going to cut. The ones that are really worth something, I'm not going to cut up, you guys. I would never do that. So these are some original Beatrix Potter books. Are they not cool or what? Laurel, I totally understand. What color lace would I use most? Any neutral color. I just don't have it. I just have a little bit, and what you know, any neutral color. I'll use any color. I'm not a lace snob. So these are the 3 Beatrix Potter books, right? So this is A Tale of Jeremy Fisher. And you guys, I want you to see the illustrations in it. I know, right? Look at the beautiful, these are old ones. These are like, I'll tell you, it's not in mint condition. This one is from 1906. This is a first edition. And look, it's really, I mean, it's falling apart, but it's still in really good condition for being that old. The illustrations are really beautiful. And when you touch the pages, the type, you can feel the lettering, right? See, so this is one. And then this one is The Tale of Tom Kitten, which is, let's see. One of them is a reprint, so this one is 1907, so this is also a first edition. But like, look, aren't they beautiful? I don't know if you can see how beautifully detailed the illustrations are, but they're really nice. I'm not going to cut these, Joyce, don't worry. I would never do this, okay? Now this was, The Tale of Timmy Tippy Toes must be like, I think it was a reprint. So The Tale of Timmy Tippy Toes is, this one was, it was original copyright is 1911, and this was a reprint in 1939. Okay, but like, look. These are really beautiful books, and they're in crazy condition for being here. Usually by now the bugs would have eaten it all. Okay, so he found me these. Wait, this is not all. This was like, I have to tell you, I was like, oh my gosh. Let me see. I have a whole box of them. Okay, a whole box of books. Let me see, what is this one? This is beautiful too. This is a Margaret Stranger book. But look how beautiful it is. And it's from, let's see. This one's from 1966. But I want you to see, let me see if I can find the illustrations. Look at them. They're really beautiful. This one's nice too. Fiona, people come and go here so quickly, and I think that then he found me this book, The Secret Door, and it's got beautiful, I think it was from the 60s, but it has beautiful illustrations in it too. Like, look, isn't that beautiful? And then this one's really beautiful. This is, I think this is an O. Henry book. Hang on, let's see. This is 1908, and it says it was from Mary A. Pattison from Silver Creek, New York, and this is Lucille by Owen Meredith. And it's just a beautiful book. It's a book of poetry. And it's just beautiful. Like, look at the cover. Isn't it beautiful? It's just a sweet book. But wait, that's not all. I have a whole box of these books. They're all different. I mean, they're all have poetry, but I just wanted to show you a couple of other ones that I really loved. Let's see. Okay, here. Look at this. Isn't this cool? And I have another one that matches it. Let me just see if I can find it in here. Okay, I have Raggedy Andy and Raggedy Ann. I want you to see the illustrations from these books. Aren't they beautiful? Can you see how beautiful this is? This is a total score. So this one is from 1925. Okay. This book was written in 1925, but I want you to see how good the quality of the pages are. It's crazy. Isn't it beautiful? And I'm not going to cut this up, so. But somebody in one of our junk journaling groups was looking for Raggedy Ann stuff, so I thought maybe I would copy it, scan it, and send it or post it. If anybody wanted to use them in their own personal journals. Aren't there illustrations for a book from 1925? And then here, wait, and this one's cute too. This one's like a baby's first golden book, and it's like a board book, and it's from like 1962 as well. And it's really in beautiful condition as far as like a book this old. And the illustrations are cool. Okay. And then look at Raggedy Andy. The cover's not great, but the insides are really beautiful. And this one is from 1948. Look at the illustrations. Look at the pictures. Isn't it beautiful? I was like so surprised, because generally the bugs get everything here, you guys. But they're like so vibrant and in amazing condition for being this old. So when I get it together, I'm not going to do it right now, but when I get it together, I'll scan some of the images and I'll post them in our group, and then you guys can put them in your journal. I had a Raggedy Ann doll too. I used to collect dolls. I don't collect anything anymore. Like right now, I'm just, probably what I collect is junk now, compared to like what I had. you know, or what I had in my... Anyway, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. Oh, here's another Beatrix Potter book. Here's another one. This one's called The Tailor of Gloucester. Gloucester. And this one is from, let's see. They're in amazing condition for as old as they are. This one's 1903 too. I mean, all I can figure is that whoever had these, they must have been in like a trunk or something, because the pages are still... Amberly says she collects art supplies and Pokemon cards. You and my 10-year-old would be right in on it. I got all kinds of stuff. He found me this whole book. I was going to show you somewhere in here, but I don't know where he put them. Oh, here they are. So these are some really old sketchbooks, and they've never been used. Okay, so they have leather binding, but I mean leather book cloth around them, and then I'm assuming some sort of hand-painted paper. And the pages are really old. So I'm imagining this is as old as this collection of books. Isn't that cool? And some old things like that. I do appreciate them. I have to tell you, I'm a little shocked. You know, it was like, I wasn't expecting any... I mean, he always, because I do love old books and stuff like that, he always is on the lookout. But he definitely scored. So I just thought that was like great that he like brought him home. Yeah. Here's a really cool book. This one's called Love Songs of Childhood, and this is from 1895. And it's really a beautiful, sweet little book. Isn't it? It's just sweet. There's some pictures in it too, and a few pages, but it's like old. And then look at the cover. Isn't it quite nice? Oh, that's so sweet, Joyce. I love it. I am not going to do anything to them. You know, I don't exactly know what. I mean, they need to be preserved in probably a better way than I have. But anyway, that was what he brought me. He brought me those books. And I was going to show them to you yesterday, but he put them so high up on a shelf I couldn't reach them. Because I told you I'm cleaning out my crafting space. They would usually live on a shelf in here, but he put them really high up, and it's a box of much more than what I've shown you, but those are some of the highlights. I mean, some of the books are just beautiful, like the cover of this book. I don't think the inside's particularly amazing, but the cover's great. I like the old pages too, Amberly. They are pretty cool, but I love the cover of this book. So, anyway, they're just some really old books, really cool books. I agree with you, Laurel. I like to hold the book in my hand too. Well, my lovelies, I'm sorry that I was not full of energy, but I will be full of energy on Friday, and I will sit down tonight and put the list together of supplies of things that we're going to make for Friday's Christmas in July craft along. And I'll pick something super easy, and I'll pick something that we all already have the supplies for, so that it won't be anything you have to go get. At some point, it would be really great. At some point, you're going to need a half a yard of fabric and a book that has at least a 2-inch spine. You'll need that for one of the projects. You will need some seed beads, because we're going to make, and some wire for the seed beads to go through. So you have to make sure that the seed beads will fit through the wire. So you want probably, I'm guessing, 26 gauge wire, and any kind of seed beads you want, because we're going to make some snowflakes. And we'll make some icicles too. For icicles you'll need bigger beads, but for the snowflakes you just need seed beads. And you could pick like a silver, or you could pick a, initially I would tell you to pick a really sparkly one and pick something that is neutral, so that way you can hang it on your tree all the time, or once you know how to make them, you're going to put them in your Christmas cards. And then everybody save your junk mail, the cardstock kind of junk mail, just the singular heavy. Oh, no, you're so sweet. So the singular, the junk mail, cardstock junk mail, and then for that you'll need that, some book pages, and we'll need some paint and some sort of like, I like Mod Podge, but if you don't like Mod Podge, use Collage Podge or Gel Medium, because we're going to coat the cover so that they feel more better than junk mail. So that, and then we're going to do, at some point we're going to make paper brooches or paper pendants. So for that, if you could save your cardboard packaging, like your food packaging, the lightweight cardboard. And if Diana, you're here, your soda boxes will work good for that. We'll do that too. We'll need that. I don't know. So we're going to make some Christmas cards, some Christmas ornaments, the fabric, and the wire, seed beads, glue, of course, the 2-inch book. I was trying to think of what else. The food packaging. You need some sort of a punch, like a circle punch or a shape punch, like a circle or like a 1-inch or a 1 1/4 inch or a 2-inch punch of some kind, or a template that you can use. Just trying to think of what else. Glue, paint, scissors, a jelly plate if you want to use one. If not, a sheet of glass and a brayer will work. Or even some wax paper and a brayer. And if you don't have a brayer, you can use any sort of a bottle. You can use a rolling pin. You can use you could use a paint bottle like this. You could anything like that. What do you think? Glue stick, wet glue. I'm just trying to think of what else. You will need some sort of a sealer. I like diamond glaze, but if you guys have, oh my gosh, stickles or glossy accents, that works. Also, I think Aleene's makes one too, and Mod Podge makes one too, because when you're making your paper brooches, you don't have to have it, but it's really nice if the top layer of your paper brooch, the brayer's like a roller, Fiona, I don't have mine close to me, but like the rolling thing that you roll your paint with, but you can use the side of a paint bottle, you can use anything. It's just so that when you're rolling your paint, you get a surface, you get a smooth surface. So anyway, alright girls, breathe in, take a deep breath in, and exhale, and always from my heart to your heart, I'm sending you so much aloha. I promise on Friday I'll be a little more peppy, and if you guys want to bring your Shabby Chic journals on Friday, bring them, and we'll do the next step where we will glue lace in the pages. So if you're going to do that, bring your lace or paper lace. Bring something to bind it, like if you're going to sew them in, so you can sew your signatures in or sew them separate. and your elastic, and we'll make a couple of embellishments too. Girls, thanks for being here with me. Big, huge hugs. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group, join it. Please, please, please. And thank you guys for your kind words and for your love. I can't tell you how much it means to me. You guys are so awesome. Thanks, Noni. Thanks, Trish. Bye, Joyce. Bye, Ash. Bye, Fiona. Amberly. Laurel. Ann. Beth. Susan. See you over on Facebook, and then I'll see you Friday at the same time, okay? Oh, thanks, Fiona. I love you, ladies. You have no idea how much. Totally, totally, totally. Big hugs, girls. Maybe by Friday I'll have a new stove. Ha! For my stove fixed. Anyway, big hugs. Take care.